Hey, how's it going, guys? Ahsoka, episode 8. We're at the finale. Was this a good finale? Was it an effective finale? We'll talk about it. First thing I want to mention is the title of the episode, The Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. Clear pointer, clear inspiration taken from Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. But that aside, the episode started off with that Night Sister that came in from the galaxy that we all know into this galaxy far, far away. She joins a sisterhood and gets the Blade of Talzin, also gets those black markings and whatnot. The Blade of Talzin, that name sounds so familiar. I'm assuming it's from Clone Wars. Talzin, Sister Talzin. I think there was a Sister Talzin in Clone Wars. But she gets this blade, and she's not the only one who gets a blade. Ezra is making his own lightsaber. So everybody who is like, hey, Ezra's one with the Force. The Force is his only ally, and he's using the Force. He doesn't need a lightsaber anymore. Well, now he's making a lightsaber of his own. So, and not only did he make use of a lightsaber, he fought with a lightsaber. So the whole argument of he used the Force because he hasn't used a lightsaber in so long, he's rusty. Well, we saw him fight with it pretty handily. You know, he fought better than Ahsoka. I'm jumping all over with this review. I'm already over there. But he fought better than Ahsoka. Ahsoka's so stiff with the lightsaber. I mean, I'm not saying the way Ezra fought is on par with the prequels or anything like that. But comparing him to Ahsoka, he is much better, much more fluid. Ahsoka's just so stiff with it, man. But anyways, let's bring it back to Ezra making his lightsaber. He's making his lightsaber. He used that ring guard piece right below the emitter, same piece that Kanan had on his lightsaber. So that was cool to see. The hilt looks really simplistic to me, so I didn't really care for the hilt too much. But the blade actually looked good. And if you've been watching any of my reviews, you know I have an issue with the blades, lightsabers in general in Disney Star Wars, because they're using glow sticks, so it looks bad. And this actually looked decent. It looked better than most of the other lightsabers. And maybe because he wasn't swinging it around, maybe he wasn't holding it close to his face. I don't remember, but what it looked like, the thickness of it, how it looked good. So my thing is, a lightsaber is a personal weapon, okay? It's not like a blaster, like you can just hand them out, they're all one and the same. It's like, this is Mace Windu's lightsaber. This is Obi-Wan's lightsaber. This is Qui-Gon's lightsaber. It's like, it's as Obi-Wan said, it's an extension of yourself, okay? So I'm not a big fan of passing down lightsabers, handing down lightsabers. Yeah, Luke used Anakin's lightsaber for a bit, but guess what? Once he became a Jedi, he immediately made his own lightsaber. Sabine, she's still using Ezra's. So I would like for Sabine to make her own lightsaber and Ezra to take his. But I guess I understand they're in a rush, and and obviously Sabine is not capable of making a lightsaber yet. So Ezra just, hey, I'm gonna make my own. And now we're all fully equipped. So I get it, but in an ideal world, I just don't like the idea of passing down lightsabers. And I would like to see Ezra use his own lightsaber. I feel kind of bad that I liked the blaster lightsaber thing that he made as a kid. That was cool. That was real versatile. I like that. I like that design. So continuing with Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka, there was a scene where they're all riding those animals and they're charging forward to get into this door, okay? Blasters from the Star Destroyer are being shot down, and they're all riding, and Ahsoka and Ezra are putting their arms out to try and open the door, so by the time they get to it, it's open, and then they can get through. That looked lame, in my opinion. They're riding with their arms out. Nothing's really happening, and then by the time they get to the door, it's open, and then they go in. So while they're riding, Ahsoka says, tell Sabine to start helping out. Since when has Sabine have a connection with the Force? Yeah, she felt Ahsoka's presence, but that also felt like it came out of nowhere. She has been for how many years has it been? Okay, that since Ezra has been in this other galaxy. Okay, how long has it been? It's been quite a while. She hasn't trained. They came back, right? Ahsoka came back into Sabine's life, and she still has no clue how to do anything. She doesn't know. She doesn't have a connection with the Force, so it's not like she had some decent amount of training, then forgot it all, and she's trying to rebuild back. She's still at pretty much ground zero. Hu Yang said the Jedi Academy wouldn't have taken her as a Padawan. I mean, they weren't willing to take Anakin as a Padawan. He was still so young. So why are we expecting anything out of Sabine? Yeah, Luke trained when he was much older, but he's also Luke Skywalker. He's Anakin's son. He has a high midichlorian count, and he is very clearly Force sensitive. You know what I mean? It's in his blood. Sabine, she has no affinity for the Force. She's just like every other person. So every other person can become a Jedi. Why isn't Mando, dude? Why doesn't Mando take a couple months to train to be a Jedi? Because how long has Sabine been training? Honestly, because in this episode, you remember that scene? I'm jumping all over the place in this review. That scene where Ezra is running to jump onto the Star Destroyer to board it. She went bam and pushes him. So now she could force push. She can force pull her lightsaber. Her lightsaber. I mean Ezra's lightsaber. Dude, that force push, dude. How? I want Sabine to stay a Mandalorian. She's a Mandalorian. Why are we making everybody Jedi? This is a time when Luke Skywalker should be the only Jedi around, okay? And then now he should be starting the Jedi Academy and all that stuff. And then it slowly continues on from here, right? But how many Jedi are running around here? Cal Kestis, Ahsoka, now Sabine, Ezra. I feel like Shin is not 100% dark side. Shin is probably going to make a switch. How many Jedi are running around here? It really diminishes Luke Skywalker, and I don't like that. And the fact that now we had the crew from Rebels, like Jedi are popping up, like literally, it seems like if there's a Jedi around, you're going to get multiple Jedi popping up out of nowhere. Like you had Kanan Jarrus, you had Ezra Bridger, and then now you have Sabine, who are Jedi. It just so happened that Sabine is a Jedi. It just feels like it came out of absolutely nowhere, because it did come out of absolutely nowhere, and I don't like it. I don't like the fact that we're having so many Jedi, and then I don't like the fact that they're popping up out of nowhere from people who have no connection to the Force. So I find that odd. And not only did she do that Force push, which is honestly the worst thing, Force pushing Ezra, like, dude, how do you do that? Pulling the lightsaber, but she's also blocking blaster bolts, so she has Jedi reflexes. Okay. We finally understand the motivation behind the Night Sisters working with Thrawn. Thrawn came to this place. He fixed up the Star Destroyer, and he woke up the Night Sisters. So the Night Sisters were probably in some sort of slumber or something like that in this planet where they're at, in Peridea. But he woke them up, and so now they owe him for that, and which is why they're serving him. So they explained that relationship a bit over there. One thing my brother pointed out, he hasn't seen Rebels, he hasn't seen Clone Wars or anything like that. So he doesn't know who Thrawn is. So he told me, well, as he was watching, he said he has no clue why Thrawn is the big bad. Like, he knows that Thrawn is supposed to be the big bad, but he has done nothing to show why he is the big bad. And I can see that. If you haven't watched Rebels, you don't know who Thrawn is, you haven't read any of the books. Who is this guy? Why is he the big bad? He hasn't shown anything. You know what I mean? He hasn't shown why he is the top dog here. And he's like come out of nowhere. What is this? Who is this? You know, so it's real. This show really feels like just a continuation of Rebels in live action. This is just Rebels season 5. So if you haven't watched Rebels, I'm glad I watched. I'm glad you guys told me to watch Rebels before this, because I would have been missing out a whole lot. So another thing about Thrawn is, I wish we talked a bit about this, right? His stature. I mean, he is a tall guy, but his physique, I wish they did a bit more with the makeup, maybe elevated the cheekbones, because he just looks like a guy that's blue with red eyes. And I'm not getting that intimidation factor as much as I did in Rebels. Rebels, he was lean, he was lanky, he was tall, he had high cheekbones. The voice obviously it's a voice actor, so the voice is obviously good. But I recently been watching The Witcher. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this. I don't see why everybody hated on that show. Rings of Power was worse than that. Witcher was honestly a fun watch. Yeah, there was some cringy stuff in The Witcher, but I haven't read the books, I haven't played the game, so maybe they diverged from source material. But I've enjoyed The Witcher. But Thrawn, the actor who plays Thrawn, his character in The Witcher, I'm more intimidated by him in that show than in this show. So I feel like if they at least gave him his costume, fitted him a bit more, that would be better. So it's not, basically the reason I brought up The Witcher, it's not the acting. He can definitely act the part. It's just the physical nature of him, the fitting of the outfit, the little bit of a gut, the makeup could have been better. So that type of stuff. And I think Thrawn would have been a whole lot better if they just gave him a little bit more love, in the design department. Thrawn also continues with the samurai metaphors. I don't know, dude. I don't know why they are so on the nose with the samurai stuff. Thrawn calls Ahsoka Ronin. I mean, come on, we get it. George Lucas was inspired by samurai. Dave Filoni, you like samurai. But this is Star Wars. You don't got to be so on the nose with it, man. Oh, how did I miss this? The Night Sisters, they raised the stormtroopers back from the dead, made them zombie troopers. And they were making weird zombie noises while they were coming at Sabine, Ezra, and Ahsoka. That was fun, I guess. But speaking of the Night Sisters, also, Thrawn is taking them to Dathomir, which is interesting. I was always curious about why is the hyperspace ring? Why is it a ring? Because it reminds me of the Jedi starfighters when they dock into their little mini hyperspace rings and then they blast off. This is a huge giant one. So the giant Star Destroyer docks into it and blasts off back to the galaxy that we all know. And Ezra was on there, right? Because Sabine somehow force pushed him. I don't know how that was possible. Somehow she force pushed him with barely any training onto the ship, and he gets on one of the shuttles, and that was the last shot, right? You see, one of the last shots, or maybe it was the last shot. He reunites with Chopper and Hera on the brig of one of the ships. The funny thing is, they kind of swap places. Ezra is over here with Hera and all of them, and Sabine and Ahsoka are in this galaxy far, far away. They came all the way there to bring Ezra back, and they're honestly sort of in the same situation. They just swapped places. Now, this next topic is where things are going to get a bit interesting, because it involves my favorite arc from the Clone Wars, Season 3, Episodes 15, 16, and 17, the Mortis arc. All right? That's my favorite arc. Anakin got some respect put on his name, man. That was that moment, dude, when he, like, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Clone Wars, but you know what I mean, when he subdued the daughter and the son, that was cool, dude. Like, you know what I mean, they were setting up Anakin to replace the father. And if you haven't seen Clone Wars, you'd be, what am I talking about? Am I talking about the Holy Trinity or what? The father, the son, and the daughter. The father represents the balance. The daughter represents the light, and the son represents the dark side. And the father is a balance between the two. So Anakin, as the chosen one, was to replace the father and maintain balance of the Force throughout the universe. Okay? So maybe what they're going to do is, I'm curious if they're going to do this. If Anakin didn't really bring balance to the Force in Episode 6, he's going to do it now. He's going to take place of the father. I don't know if they're going to do that. For me, my canon is episodes 1 through 6. Okay, this stuff is not really canon. So if they decide to do it, I'm not going to consider it canon, because in my mind, Anakin brought balance back to the Force in episode 6 by killing Darth Sidious. Or maybe what they could do is he did bring balance to the Force in episode 6, but now in order to maintain balance of the Force throughout the universe moving forward, he has to take place of the Father or something like that. I don't know. We'll see what they do. I am curious about it, but at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know. It didn't excite me as much as I thought, I guess. Number one, I didn't even recognize that was the Father at first. I was like, what is this Lord of the Rings Elendil looking statue? And then after the fact is when I was made aware that it was the Father. And then I noticed the son next to him. And the daughter on the other side, that statue is broken. But we also saw the owl flying around near the end. Remember, I think that was the last scene. We saw Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost watching over them. And we saw the owl flying around. Because that's the daughter, right? She can take the form of the owl. So that was cool seeing Anakin watching over them. But I wonder, what are they going to do? Because Balin, the father is pointing off at something. And Balin is looking in that direction. To what? What is that? And then we saw Shin also. I don't remember what was in the background of Shin's scene. I don't think there was anything. But I wish we got more of Shin and Balin in this episode. It looks like they're really setting up for... They need a second season. They need a second season because obviously now things are going to get real interesting with the father, son, and the daughter. And what is Shin going to be doing? What is more importantly, what is Balin going to be doing? Because that seems real interesting. And how is Anakin going to be involved? Because Anakin's got to be involved somehow, I think. I don't know, dude. It's going to be interesting. The father, son, and the daughter is some of the most interesting stuff out of Clone Wars. It's the most fantasy stuff out of Clone Wars. And it's cool. The lore behind that is real cool. And I'm curious to see how that's going to be brought into live action. And I don't know, dude. It's just a whole bunch of questions, a lot of mystery. How is Anakin going to play a part in that? But this episode, it was whatever to me, honestly. I don't think it was a good finale. Yeah, that last bit got me curious about what they're going to do, but not too curious where I'm like, whoa, I really want to know. It was just like, oh, that's interesting. But let me know, what did you guys think about this episode? The Sabine stuff annoyed me. Ahsoka fighting was so bad. She's so stiff. She's not good. The young Ahsoka is so much better than her. No offense, man. I like Rosario Dawson, and I feel like she can play an awesome Ahsoka, but she's still a bit with that stoic kind of acting, that stiff acting, and not as bad as it was earlier in the show. And her lightsaber fighting is real stiff. It doesn't look good. But that's gonna be it for me on this episode. What do you guys think about it? I thought it was okay. It wasn't anything special, as whatever. I don't have any overwhelmingly positive or overwhelmingly negative things to say about the episode. I guess, despite Sabine doing that force push thing, that was just why. But that's gonna be it for me. Let me know down below in the comment section, what did you guys think about Ahsoka episode 8? What did you guys think about this first season? And where do you think they're gonna go with season 2 with the father, son, and the daughter? Let me know all that down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.